got some new music for you this week. Dave and I just bopping along. Hey, everybody, how are you? Eddie Huff, Dave Van Risingham, fresh black coffee, and we're sitting here moving, grooving, and rocking steady.
Yeah, trying to engineer while we talk.
Yeah, Dave's over here giving me...
Because a couple of years ago, you left the Bluetooth out, and all of a sudden we heard a ringtone.
Right,
you know?
Yeah, the phone started ringing. I understand.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let me just do this. This is what I needed to do. There we go. So anyway, hey, how is everyone? We're well into the new year already. I'm at the point now where I'm putting 26 on my dates when I'm doing checks and writing letters and things, and not putting 25 regularly, let's say at least. Occasionally I'll still fall back into the 25. I guess maybe the older I get. No, I think it was worse when I was young.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, started doing it, I just,
We don't do as much writing as we used to. There we go. We don't do as much writing as we used to. And when you're putting dates on forms manually, it's hard to get out of that habit.
Yeah, it's true.
Change that 25 to a 26.
I was even having that problem, on the computer. Doing it, just wouldn't. In fact, I'll tell you the funny one. I remember one year I went into the bank and I was writing a check and I put July 19th down, and I said, "Man, there's something. What is the deal with that date, July 19th? I wonder why does it seem different? Like it means something." And so I left and went in, and I realized it was my birthday. I did not even remember my birthday because I was so focused on everything else. And usually because I'm gone from the house early. So, the kids, when they were there and everything, we'd always do the birthday in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
But as the kids fled or left, then, my wife and I would do it in the evening.
Yeah.
Give her a card. She'd give me a card or presents or whatever it is. And to me, it's funny how when you get our age, gifts don't mean anything. And at Christmas, we usually don't get anything.
We're very hard to buy gifts for, aren't we? Men our age.
Well, yeah, but it to me, yeah, you're right. So, I prefer to buy my own stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll just give.
When I really need something, I'm going to go choose what I get.
That is true. But we're taking all the joy and fun out of it for everybody else, although my kids are probably happy that they don't have to spend. I'm one person they don't have to spend money on that yet. But yeah, it's. But so, yeah, anyway, because of that, I didn't find out it was my birthday until I got home. Surprise! I'm easy to surprise.
Yeah.
And the only thing, I was just talking to somebody about that. I don't know if it was this morning at this breakfast meeting or sometime during the week. And we were talking about how we like Texas Roadhouse. It's, to me, among that and Logan's out in, there's only one left in Owasso now, sadly. But anyway, have the best steak. Okay. And of course, Logan's is cheaper than Texas Roadhouse.
Good to know.
Yes. But anyway, so we were talking about how we like the Texas Roadhouse, but we refuse to get on the saddle. You know how they want you to sit on this saddle as they sing happy birthday to you. And I'm there, and then all of a sudden here they come with their saddle and want to do it. My family was surprising me, and you get a free cake. I think they give you a cake or dessert. And I said, I'm not getting on that thing. Are you serious? I'm not. So anyway, anywhere we go now, I tell them, do not announce my birthday. There's one exception.
No, you forgot to say it the Eddie classic way. Homie, don't do that.
Yeah, homie, don't do it. But I'll tell you, there's one exception, and that is at Uncle Julio's.
Oh.
Have you ever eaten there?
No.
Okay. It's right by Best Buy on 71st Street.
Okay, along the Mingo Valley there.
Right. It's right. Well, yeah, but it used to be the Baptist bookstore.
Oh, sure, in the parking lot.
Yeah. The bank's still there, but it's Uncle Julio's, okay?
Good.
Uncle Julio's on your birthday, if you're there, they have this giant, it looks like a soccer ball, but it's a chocolate soccer ball. And it's filled with candy and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And so anyway, they give you this club, this wooden
pinata thing
and it's hanging. Yeah, I guess it would be a chocolate pinata.
Yeah. And
so they bring it out on this little, hanging on this little thing. And you have to break it. And nice. I've seen somebody. So my one set of the grandkids I was talking about, where he grew into this handsome, I mean, seriously handsome kid. But anyway, and so I hit this thing with all my might, and man, chocolate and everything went flying. But it ended up on my grandson's lap. He was just. I mean, mostly if I did it to you or somebody, what? He was all happy, and he's like,
oh yes,
eating chocolate.
That's how you do it at pinata at a birthday party.
Brendan, slow down. Yeah.
Mad dash.
Yeah, but it was, but the thing about Uncle Julio's, if you've never been there, best Mexican food you can get.
Good to know.
It's a little higher price because it's a classy place.
Yeah, and the location's not cheap for that restaurant to run.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah. But they have this steak that's incredible. And the other thing, they're the only ones that I found that's up here that do camarones Tampico. Remember that word? Write it down. Camarones Tampico. And camarones Tampico, camarones are shrimp.
Oh, okay.
And Tampico is where they roll it in bacon. So you get this shrimp.
Everything's better in bacon.
That's rolled. That's rolled for all of our Muslim friends. It's a rolled bacon around this shrimp, which the Jews won't eat because it's unclean. So
sure,
they're
more for us.
They're equally offenders. They don't. They're going to offend the Muslims and the Jews.
Well, they won't admit to eating it.
Some, right? Most, yeah, probably. Yeah. But anyway, but it's this bacon wrapped shrimp. And it's like camarones Tampico. Repeat after me. Can you say that? I like the way you say that. But anyway, but that's why.
Can I say something? Because Valentine's is coming up here in less than a month now. How about next week? Can you come up with a list of your top 10 steakhouses? Because a lot of these guys are going to want to, maybe do something a little special for Valentine's.
A lot of guys will hope the girl doesn't remember.
Yeah.
It's Valentine's.
I got another comment. Last night, so my wife, we were up in Minnesota for Christmas. We stopped at a friend's house, and they're feeding us supper, and they had this cheddar potato soup. And my wife kind of liked it.
Yeah, my wife makes that. She likes it.
So Debbie gets an idea, and yesterday I come home from day of work, and I could smell bacon. Yeah, so she didn't tell me what she cooked bacon for, but she said, I fried up some bacon. She put bacon in that cheddar potato soup. And last night she gave me this little bowl. Who gives a little bowl to a guy? And I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, she really did. And the answer was more bacon.
You know why she did that in a little bowl?
What?
Because if she had given you the big bowl, there was a chance that you wouldn't appreciate it or show the appreciation. So as they give you the little bowl and you eat, oh, honey, oh, man, I've got to have more.
So that's how women do
That's how they do it. Okay. That's right. They always leave them wanting more.
Yes.
Instead of give them too much.
It's just like George Costanza, the famous Seinfeld, where he makes a joke in the boardroom and everybody laughs. He says, thank you very much. And he walks out. You always leave him wanting more.
Leave him wanting more. So anyway, everyone, now maybe we can get down to some news you can use. This has been a week. Let's lead with the whole ICE situation.
All right.
So immigration enforcement corps, I guess you would call them, but they are under attack. ICE is under severe attack. And what bothers me is that not enough people on the right side, the correct side, are standing up to defend ICE. Every news outlet, everything, and I have what I consider conservative friends now starting to question ICE, just like they began questioning Israel. Mm-hmm. Everybody's turning on Israel, and now they're turning on ICE.
Yep.
And there's one reason that they're attacking ICE. It's because ICE to them represents Donald Trump. They hate Trump derangement syndrome is real, people. Trump TDS is a real, what do you call it? A syndrome. But there's, when you're manic, or there's manic and there's different forms of insanity.
Yeah.
Now I can't think of it. There's a word.
But they're obsessed.
Yeah, they're obsessed with it. And so anything that comes out of the Trump administration, I mean, we know we have revealed, or the government has revealed, that billions, not thousands, not millions, millions, and probably tens of billions of dollars have been stolen and funneled through the Somali community in Minneapolis and shipped to Somalia. And in fact, it's so bad that there are people at the airport that are telling, they were told, just see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing. And that suitcases full of thousands and thousands of dollars are leaving the Minneapolis airport and headed. And I think they said the route is they go to Dubai, and in Dubai, then they turn it into electronic cash, and then they send it over to Somalia.
Right. Because there's pirates in Somalia.
Right. Yeah. So, and apparently Ilhan Omar has been getting some of this. Remember, wasn't it about a month or two ago we were talking about her sudden wealth? How she went into, she was worth, what, 7,000, 70,000, and all of a sudden, voila, she's worth tens of millions of dollars all of a sudden. I mean, honestly, people, there used to be a saying, you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy.
Yeah.
Today, you can take the crook out of Somalia, but you can't take the crookedness out of the Somalian. And it's sad. Now, let me give a caveat, okay? I know that there are good Somali people, good Ethiopians, good Nigerians, good Arkansas and Louisiana people, okay, Mississippi. But when a culture is dominated, Venezuela is a good example. When a nation is just overrun and overwhelmingly corrupt, then something needs to be done. Something has to be done. It's overwhelmingly a corrupt situation, and we're seeing it in Minneapolis and probably Detroit, if people will look at it, and they're trying to bring it to Dallas now, of all places, to Dallas. So anyway, just to let you know how we see it, and something needs to be done. But all of this then has ginned up just a fervent anger and fervent hatred, and then you add to it the lady being shot by the ICE worker, and them making her a martyr now, even though what they won't tell you is that apparently she was so bad that DHS took her adopted children away.
Two of them.
Two of them, right. They took them away from her, and then I guess she had another one, got another. I don't know how she got another one, because it was a baby. The older ones they took, and then they have a baby, she and her partner. So, and her partner is the one egging her on, go, go, go. And then when she gets shot, no, it's my fault, it's my fault. You know, so these are these deranged people. These people, honestly, they're nuts. They are literally nuts. Yeah. And so somehow sane people, and I'll say it, Bible believing and Christian living people need to start speaking up, and not just speaking up, but doing things. And that will kind of move into BA. You probably know more about the BA.
You gave me a lot to respond to.
Okay,
here.
all right. So I turn it over to you, Dave.
Yeah.
You know where I'm at.
Yeah. To your spiritual point there, Proverbs says, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. And to Somali culture, you see the effect of sin and corruption in what it does to debase an entire culture, an entire civilization. And Trump, in his vulgar terms, called them shithole nations. When I was attending a church on South Peoria, just north of 61st in Peoria, we had a community outreach pastor. And I spent a lot of time with him. He worked in Fairmont Terrace, was notorious, and a couple of ministers were meeting there. And they
let me just say this: Fairmont Terrace is projects, housing projects.
Yeah, Section 8 is the. Well, anyway, and this community outreach pastor is telling us that he says, the big elephant in the room here is sin. Most of the people end up here because of sin. He says, I'm not going to change their economics or any of their culture until they're willing to address the sin in their life. So going back to Somalia, it's debased to a point of everybody's in it for what they can get. You got the piracy, you got all kinds of stuff. And again, righteousness will exalt a nation. We saw that in Paul's missionary journeys and how he transformed the northern Mediterranean and transformed lives and cultures. Corinth was a sinful, decadent place. And he instituted a lot of things that because people wanted change. So in Minnesota, this problem started with a man named Mark Dayton, heir to the Dayton-Hudson Corporation, who's became the Target Corporation, the family who brought us the Target stores. He started out, school teacher, very much a liberal, but he got attached to a couple of Republican senators, or one in particular, Rudy Perpich, was senator back in the early 80s. And this is a problem, Eddie. I'm getting off in a little side journey here. But personnel is policy. And when you start as a Republican, you start saying, oh, yeah, I'll bring a liberal in here, and that. That's how we got Mark Dayton. He became governor, and he's the one that opened the spigot, working with Catholic Charities, Lutheran Social Services, and brought massive amounts of Somalis in. But along with that, and by the way, that money that you said they're hauling by billions, that wasn't state money as much as it was federal money that the states were authorized to dole out. So they were stealing from all the other states. And so this is the problem we have here. And good friends of mine up in St. Cloud, their whole neighborhood just became Little Somalia. A town of about 60,000, they dumped another 15,000 Somalis. Now, you imagine what actually putting about 20% this immigration people that don't want anything to do. In fact, they have disdain for your Western culture. They have disdain for your values. They have disdain for everything about you. A lot of it's coming out of jealousy. But Mark Dayton goes up there to Minnesota and then says to the people of St. Cloud, if you don't like it, you leave town.
Yeah.
But this is where it started. It didn't start with Tim Walz.
Oh, no.
Okay, because Ilhan Omar was the product of a machine. She isn't her own person. She's the spokesperson. She is a creation, just like AOC is a creation and a mouthpiece. And yeah, this is where this comes from. I don't consider on this issue that it comes out of Trump derangement syndrome. The Trump ballroom at the White House, that's Trump derangement syndrome. They hate it just because it's, assigned to Trump. This pre-existed Trump.
Right. The policy and what's going on is not Trump derangement syndrome. What's TDS is the reaction of the people reacting to what's occurred recently.
Right.
They're not thinking logically. And I'll get to in a second. It's moved into other cities and things, but it's so bad that, they call what's good evil. It's scriptural. They're calling good evil and evil good.
Yeah.
And there was one, I can't remember who it was, but they were saying about some of it wasn't her. It was someone else that, and this is a little sidelight. We'll keep it on immigration, but it was about people, it is immigration, that are being kicked out of America. And there was the Democrats were saying, well, all this lady had to, first of all, okay, I'm slow. It's like the fire hose going through a garden hose.
All synapses firing.
Yeah. But no, what it was, so there were 3 cases that this liberal was using. It was a congressional hearing. That's right, INS. And so this Democrat congressman, he said, take the case. The first case is Sally Johnson. I don't remember the lady's name, but Sally Johnson, who has been here from, I think it was the Ukraine. And she's been here now for 22 years. And what does she do? She writes a few hot checks. And we're kicking her out. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, wait. You're eligible for citizenship after 7 years. Why has she in 20 some years not applied for citizenship? Then she writes hot checks, which is, depending on the size, could be a felony. She had 3 of them. She wrote not just one hot check, she wrote a series of hot checks. But now, because we're wanting to deport her for what? Breaking the law and not being a citizen.
And being illegally here.
Well, I think she came here illegally. She just stayed on an immigration visa.
No, that's a good point. Even if they come by, there are still rules. You can't commit felonies.
Exactly. And the felony will keep you from becoming a citizen of the United States. And then there was another one where he had gone and become a a military veteran.
Yes.
And he was from Puerto Rico, I think.
A lot of people get Puerto Rico's already U.S. citizen.
Yeah, it couldn't have been Puerto Rico. It must have been one of the.
But a lot of them gained their citizenship through military service.
Yeah. And so he, for some reason, did not get that. And they wanted to deport him because of some legal reason. But, Christy Nome was sitting there being grilled by this guy. And she was a lot nicer than I would. I would have just asked him, well, let me ask you, Senator, when does the law quit being the law?
Yeah.
I mean, it could simply said, when does the law quit becoming the law?
Yeah.
Being the law. But she was trying to be polite and she was trying to be nice and keep her cool. I don't have to be nice and keep my cool. I want to just tell whoever this senator was that you're an idiot, sir. You are a blooming idiot. And so all of this immigration stuff, though, it's with the Democrats, it's never about the issue that they're griping about, okay? It's all a deeper thing. They want power back, and they finally found something they think they can get the American people to turn on Donald Trump and the Republican Party. And they're hoping that by November, they will have everything ginned up to a point where they can take back Congress. And they want Congress because once they take Congress, they'll probably try to impeach Trump again, but they won't need to. All they really need to do is thwart any and everything he wants to do and undo many of the things that he's already done. Mm-hmm. And then, so as I said, and then of course they will want to stack the Supreme Court and just, I don't know. All I can say, it's a corrupt party. It's a corrupt political party filled with nothing but jackleg wannabes. And I don't know how they get there except corruption. And so, Dave, every day I get closer to thinking that the end times are upon us.
Oh, yeah.
Matthew 24, I think it's 24:12, says, because iniquity abounds, the love of many will grow cold.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it because Christians are losing their ability to have love for one another, for others, right?
Yep.
And that is, I mean, if you look at read Matthew 24, and first Jesus is looking over Jerusalem, and he sees ahead and basically predicts that it's going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
But then he talks about the end times. And he talks about all the signs, wars and rumors of wars, earthquake, famine, et cetera, et cetera. But then he said, still, you won't see the end.
Yep.
But when the love of many will grow cold, that is the sign that we're near the end.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing now.
Yeah.
People, it's because corruption is so bad and people have just accepted it. As I said, that this senator could form his lips to say, well, she only had a couple of felonies against her. I mean, how can you I don't even say, I would have left that out of my argument.
Quote J.D. Vance, do you hear yourself?
Yeah. And he actually says it and expects everybody and people, and I'm thinking, what is wrong with you people? So anyway, that's where we are. And it's rough. And let me just one more add in. So we have a story that came out. Now, this is Philadelphia. Now,
that's your home stomping grounds back in your what, junior high years you were there?
Yeah. And so we have this lady sheriff, in Philadelphia. Her name is Rochelle Bilal.
Yeah.
Bilal, isn't that, I think, isn't Bilal like
sounds Middle Eastern.
A god. One of the, not Baal, but it was Bilal, I thought was another one of these gods that the Midianites and everybody worshiped. So, but anyway, Philadelphia County Sheriff Rochelle Bilal and DA Larry Krasner were having this press conference, this meeting. And so Sheriff Rochelle Bilal, she got up and was saying that if ICE comes to Philadelphia, they will be arrested. ICE comes to Philadelphia, they will be arrested. Are you serious that you could? And it's a black, fat-butted black woman. How many more slurs can I throw in there? Anyway, she's just your epitome of what a law enforcement should not look like, mainly because of her weight and everything
She's
about
an ugly version of Joy Reid.
Yeah, she has hair too. Yeah. So and of course her little sheriff's hat on, and but anyway, it was actually threatening the Trump administration and ICE, and defending the lady that got shot there in Minneapolis, defending her and threatening the Trump administration that if ICE comes to Philadelphia, they will be arrested. Now, the gall that someone would have. Now, the black community has a term, Uncle Tom, okay? And it's supposed to mean a sellout, okay? It's a sellout that's sold out to the man, to the honky, to the white person, okay? And yet they're so stupid that, first of all, they don't realize Uncle Tom was a hero. Uncle Tom was a good character, a godly character. Mm-hmm. They diminish that character. And then secondly, they don't realize that they are actually doing the bidding of the man. You got all these old white guys standing behind her. Mm-hmm, yeah. And they've got her out front because they figure, oh, nobody will attack a black woman, because Donald Trump will. Donald Trump doesn't care what color, what sex, what nationality, or what is country of origin, as they say. He doesn't care. He will go after you. And more power to him. This has got to stop. We essentially have a civil war right now. You've got Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, and New York are the prime civil disobedience.
Minneapolis.
And Minneapolis.
Yeah.
But not just locally. This is affecting the nation. And what I don't understand is why these states themselves, Illinois, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, you've got a lot of conservative white people there that need to rise up and stand against this stuff. You got to get rid of this Krasner, Larry Krasner, the DA, okay? He was put in by George Soros. He's one of the Soros DAs that he put in. I mean, he is about as nuts as they come. He is as far left and out of his mind as you can get, okay?
Yeah.
And yet, I don't hear, we are losing the PR war, mm-hmm. is really essentially what it is. And yes, I know we have all these networks, these left-wing networks, progressive networks, if you want to call them that are out there continually all day indoctrinating people.
Yep.
And it's so funny when you listen to the progressives, they accuse us of the very things they're doing.
That's it.
They accuse us of doing, it's Goebbels' old mantra, you know. And
well, I think that was repeat a lie long enough and everybody will believe it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah.
And so they're repeating it daily on news programs over and over and over. And I guess the only way to really escape it is to not listen to those networks. And then you have people that are really convinced, Christians in particular, that Donald Trump is the devil. And they don't stop to think, what is the product? What is the fruit? If you go back to the fruit of what someone does or is proposing, supporting life, mm-hmm. supporting faith, supporting the nuclear family, all of these things, he's fine. You go to the other side, they want to abort children. They're into theft. They're stealing funds from the government, which is you and I. I mean, everything negative you can think about, it's Democrat. Everything. Now, yes, I know there are Republicans that are crooks as well, okay? Everybody has crooks. And Democrats have some good people over there too. Mm-hmm. But the majority of each party is represented by good and evil. I'm just going to say it. I don't want to pull punches, nothing. The Democratic Party is evil. They're the party of slavery. They're the party of Jim Crow. Yeah. They're the party of Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. They're everything you can think of that has gone wrong or bad in this nation in the last 300 years, it's the Democrats. Yeah. The Republican Party was formed in 1854 for one reason, end slavery. Mm-hmm. That's why. That's what that's
a good foundation to start on.
That's, if you look at their platform, I think it had 10 points, 8 of them were anti-slavery platforms. Mm-hmm. There were 2 others that dealt with other issues, but this has to get out there. You study to show yourself approved.
Yeah. I want to say something. The political parties, Republican and Democrat, are more what you would call a federation than an association. Every state party is incorporated separately. And in Minnesota, the one that the National Democrat Party has kind of licensed as a franchise, if you will, is called the DFL, Democrat Farmer Labor is their actual name. And in Minnesota, yeah, it's everything you said it is. Now, as far as the corruption goes there, folks, I'm going to recommend get on Twitter and do a search.
X now.
Yeah, it's called X.com. Find Nick Shirley, Nick, and Shirley is Shirley. Okay. In fact, his username has 2 Y's at the end, just to be sure you get it. And I'm telling you, Eddie, we could do a whole show on all the different corruptions. Do you know that when a Somali goes to the doctor, if the doctor is not fluent and confident that the doctor is fluent in Somali, the county has to pay a translator $100 an hour, minimum of 8 hours. That's the corruption, okay? There is a medical non-emergency transport program. Mm-hmm. And the folks on Medicaid, which in Minnesota is maybe half the state, because boy, did they expand Medicaid. I mean, my goodness. I've got friends who are wealthier than me that in Minnesota are on what's called Minnesota Care. Okay. And their medical transport. Nick Shirley and his friend David. David actually is about my age. He grew up in South Minneapolis. Nick was brought in from out of state by David to say, hey, I've got stuff for you. You want to report? I'll help you. And now, fortunately, they've got a crew because they have to have security like
yeah, Nick Shirley is a modern day version of what was his name that used to do this, the undercover Revelation.
James O'Keefe would be one.
Right. Yeah, he was the main one. And Nick Shirley is a new James O'Keefe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I hope we get thousands of these Nick Shirleys because it's amazing. This is a guy who should be getting the Pulitzer prizes, but you'll never see it.
Yeah. I've been watching them and seeing they're going to these daycares.
Yeah.
These daycares for children. And there's no children.
Nope.
And they're being paid thousands and millions of dollars to provide daycare. And there's no one to care for. And they've set these up all over the city of Minneapolis and just ripping the country off and the taxpayers of millions of dollars.
And you've seen these little check cashing places, that scam.
That's one of my
things. That's a financial transfer little outfit. Mm-hmm. Well, they decided to do a little follow-up on, because of state open records, who's getting this medical transport money. And one of them, the address was one of these little check cashing places. And they go in there and they say, hey, we're looking for this medical transfer. They're not here. Well, their address is here. Mm-hmm. See, this is the scam. And this is the RICO of it. This is where the federal government, and believe me, there is going to be a massive bunch. You know what's good for us Oklahomans? Right now, we kind of hold the record for the biggest corruption. Back in the mid-'80s, it was called the county commissioner scandal. And it was on roads and highways funding. They were all scamming. Well, about a third of our county commissioners went to prison. Or at least were convicted. I don't know what all their sentences.
Kelly, do you hear that?
Yeah. But Minnesota is going to have the new
record.
Dubious honor being the most corrupt state.
It's funny you mentioned the check cashing. I was in the check cashing business for a while.
Oh
yeah. We were literally making $5,000 a day. Mm-hmm. A day. Mm-hmm. And with the fees that they charge, and I was doing it through the Mexican stores, and I saw back then. I ended up stopping because it was harder and harder for the banks. But I mean, we're talking in a month we would probably do $200,000, and And so the way it worked, they went to one place and they gave them, they took their pay. It was a check cashing and transfer pay. So what they do, they take their checks to, and this was all Mexico at the time, in El Salvador. Anyway, they take their checks and give them, and then they get cash, and they walk from that counter over to the next one, and that one takes that same check and then transfers it to Mexico or El Salvador.
Yeah.
And this was going on. And back then, I thought, this isn't right. We should not be. In fact, if you wanted to shut down a lot of your immigration and so forth, that's the easiest. If tomorrow they made check cashing and transfer out of the country illegal, you would stop immigration.
Yeah, well, that's why, what's his name? Scott Bessent went to Minneapolis. He put federal restraints now in Minnesota on wire transfers, specifically Minnesota.
But yeah, they need to go to the airports.
Yeah,
and make sure that these TSA officials, because as I understand, probably 60% of the TSA officials, maybe more, in Minneapolis now are Somalis. And they would just look the other way.
Yeah.
While they're taking suitcases with cash.
Yeah.
I had a friend from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And he tried to take $100,000 to Bangladesh for some invest. I mean, his was, want to invest in Bangladesh. And TSA caught him with all this money and said, and by the time he got done, he was able to get $20,000 back because they told him, you have two choices. You can go to jail or you give us 80% of the money. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They took half, and then the half of what he had left went to his lawyer.
Yeah.
To keep him out of jail.
Yeah.
But it was just crazy. He was trying to do the same thing. Whereas now in Minneapolis, the lawyers are, and the airport security people, everybody just looking the other way and letting them ship all of this money to Somalia. It's crazy.
25 years ago, we used to love when the kids were young and still at home, we'd be visiting Minnesota. Always on the way back, we like to stop at Mall of America. There's an IKEA right next to it. I mean, it has an indoor amusement park, which in Minnesota is kind of nice. Camp Snoopy was at the time. I would not risk my life going to Mall America. It's that bad now.
Largest mall in America, and you can't go there.
I would not go there. I would not go there. And, that was in the nice part of Minneapolis, the southern suburbs. It wasn't in, Minneapolis actually is about the size of Tulsa population-wise.
Really?
Yes. It's all the suburbs around it. That's, so when you're saying Minneapolis, it's the whole metropolitan area that's the problem.
Right. Yeah.
And in fact, some of those.
Well, it's the Twin Cities too, right?
Well, yeah, you got St. Paul. But what I think is even bigger than St. Paul is Bloomington. That's down where the airport is, where the Vikings always played and the Twins played, was down there. And in fact, they built Mall of America on top of the old Metropolitan Stadium, or they bulldozed it. And literally in Camp Snoopy, they had this old bleacher seat up on the wall, on the far wall. It says, this is where Harmon Killebrew's longest home run hit, this seat right there, So there's that little bit of history there. But it's just gotten that bad. I mean, last summer, I went way around the Twin Cities, ended up driving through Shakopee, saw the My Pillow factory, because I don't want to be there. I don't want to get stopped by the cops there. I certainly don't. I think twice if I'm wearing my Trump hat or my MAGA hat. It's that bad.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
And Eddie, there was a thing called Minnesota Nice. It's kind of a misnomer because, quite honestly, when I first came down to Oklahoma, Oklahoma's so much nicer and so much more respective of my traditional values. And It's not that way. Eddie, this is why. I mean, folks, you hear people ad nauseum talking about what's happened to our education system, what's happened to our... This is what happens if you don't fix education. And it can happen in every metropolitan area in the country, and it is happening.
Well, also, when you have unfettered immigration, this is what happens. On the Somalia side, that's what's happening there. And you have certain areas where it's the balkanization or ghettoization of, most people don't, it's funny how words work. You say the word ghetto, what do you think? Black projects, that kind of thing. Ghetto, that's not what it means. You had the Polish ghettos where the Jews all lived and were concentrated before World War II, and they were imprisoned there in their
starved
ghetto, right? And so ghetto just means a gathering of the same group of people.
Yeah,
that's what ghettoization is. And so you have the Somali ghettos, you may have Hispanic ghettos. Chicago is, I think it is the largest. Well,
there's always
Hispanic
been Little
city.
Italy, Chinatown.
Right, but we're talking maxed out, and a Mexican community in Chicago. Atlanta has a huge, I didn't realize that Atlanta is one of the largest Mexican-American cities in America.
Yeah.
So.
But Eddie, I got to tell you, it's the educational, which is now the public indoctrinational, that made this happen in Minnesota. Did you see what happened as soon as Renee Good gets shot? All the schools shut down and they have the kids going out protest. Right. Those kids have been indoctrinated.
Yeah, that's true.
Indoctrinated. And this is why you have this kind of, sedition going on.
Yeah. That's why it's important for all of you, all of us, to speak out, write letters, We need to flood the Tulsa world. We need to flood our school board meetings.
Yes.
We need to come to every debate that is had, and don't be afraid to expose this stuff. If you know there's corruption, if there's things going on that are being taught in the schools that shouldn't be taught, you show up, you point it out. Yeah. This is where the battle is really going to be won. Now, let me say this, though. I had a friend, in fact, he's still my friend. He's a pastor here in North Tulsa. And I went to him, and this was like several years ago. It was during the Clinton administration when they changed the laws on gays in the military and started just making overtures to the gay community. And I went to him, and I said, man, you got to start preaching and doing this and that. And he said, all right, that battle's lost. I said, no, it can't be lost. It can't. We got to fight. But he said, no, that battle's over. They're winning. They're going to win on this battle. And I think, the Communist Party has been trying to infiltrate America and take over America since the late 1800s. Mm-hmm. And they were unsuccessful. And what they usually do, they go with the oppressed, the downtrodden, to promise them, you're going to equality, you're going to increase your lot and all. And so, and what they were trying to do, especially in the early 1900s, was get the Black community to join them. Mm-hmm. You got to join us, right? And so. But they couldn't do it.
Yeah,
Black Americans were the most patriotic Americans there were. Mm-hmm. They were just World War I, World War II. You had all Black. It was segregated army, but they were out dying in Germany, dying in Japan, dying in these different all Black units. Right,
but you don't hear much about.
Right, but so the communists were kind of disheartened, but then guess who they found? The guy who we're celebrating on Monday, Martin Luther King Jr. Yeah. Martin Luther King Jr. was co-opted by the communists. He never said he was a communist, never wanted to be, but all of the people around him influencing him in the, he left the basic civil rights message and started working for the labor unions.
Yeah.
That was his big deal. When he was assassinated, he wasn't on a civil rights quest. It was for trash collectors, the garbage men of Memphis, Tennessee.
Right.
That's what he was there. There was a garbage strike going on, and he spoke out at that. So he couched it all in, rights and God and da-da-da-da, but it was just hot air. I mean,
right.
I could give much more detail. I won't do it. But anyway, so once they found their guy that could get the message and develop all these followers, and interestingly enough, the ones who were considered the most radical, Stokely Carmichael, H. Rap Brown, who ended up in jail later. He was nuts. But anyway, the one who I think had the most influence and would have had the most influence was Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Okay, Malcolm X. And he was murdered.
He was an original thinker, wasn't he?
He was. I mean, when you read his book, Alex Haley wrote his biography.
And what did he warn the black people was their worst enemy?
The Democrat.
No, said white liberals.
Wait, that's true. That's true. Right. But he also spoke out against the Democrat Party, because that black people, if you were black, you were a Democrat. I remember in Philadelphia, when I lived in Philadelphia, we had this neighbor, lived a couple of houses down, and she came and she was walking around trying to get people to register as Republicans. This is in the hood. This is in the black community, black lady, trying to sign up. And I was like 11 and 12 years old when I was there, and 13. And she was saying, the Republican Party is our party. She knew the history way back then.
Sure.
And my aunt, I remember saying, get her out of there. She don't know that. She doesn't know what she's talking about, blah, blah, blah. Just shunned and poo-pooed her, and everybody treated the lady, kind of like she was second class or something, because she was a Republican and out actually working for the Republican Party. And this was like from 61 to 63 in there. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it. In fact, I didn't see it till 1980, 81. So the black community has been co-opted, and largely by communism. Right. They have bought into, that's what happened now to the fault of America. Remember what is it called? In South Africa, what was it?
Apartheid?
No, yeah, but what was the a something? It's the party there. It was the Black Party.
Afrikaner? No.
No. Oh, it's some initials. Anyway, they started working with the Cubans.
Yes.
And the Russians.
Yes.
Okay, they were supporting him.
Yeah, Bishop Tutu was part of that, wasn't he?
No, he was just a bishop, and he was just a pawn there.
But he ended up being the mouthpiece, kind of unofficially.
Right. But the communists weren't interested in taking over, having anything to do with South Africa, because they can't stand black people anyway, either. So that's what's so funny.
Well, the communists are exploiting the black.
Exactly. And so, but what they did, the ANC.
Yes, African National Congress.
Right.
Yeah.
The ANC. So anyway, the ANC first reached out to America to help them deal with apartheid.
Yep.
Well, America said no. And in fact, I met one of there was a black guy who worked for the embassy. Mm-hmm. And he would tell me that the white diplomats there, they just didn't give anything for the black community there. They really didn't care. And because I was there before, while apartheid was still in effect.
Yes.
Had my few run-ins. But anyway, so this, but he was saying, these people, they don't care about black people here. They're just here. They're happy with the system. They like actually living, larger than the others. But because the United States essentially shunned and didn't give ear to the Africans in their plight, the Russians came in and said, "Sure, we'll be your friend. We will get you liberated. We will end apartheid."
Right.
So I don't don't blame the Africans for doing it, because when you're hurting, when you're abused, you're going to go to the person that wants to help you and get you out of it. And they did, but they created a new hell, which is worse than the hell they were living in, because now the country is just not worth what it was before.
Yeah. Now, you've given me so much, I can't even remember.
I know, I can tell your head's about to explode. Anyway, we were basically.
I want to say back to your comment about your pastor friend in North Tulsa. He says we lost that battle. I don't know. To me, the community in the United States that is least accepting, for instance, of homosexuality, I think is the Black community.
No, not really. Not because, your Black church is just rife with gay pastors.
Well,
and of course the music that's one of the cliches.
Well,
that the music directors.
But see, here's the problem, Eddie. Our churches across the board in America have become so feminized that men often just don't even relate anymore.
Right.
I've been to so many churches that there's nothing here for men. There's nothing here for boys.
The only, I better not, I won't say the only, but a large preponderance of the Black church is man-free.
So how do you find a good man to be pastor?
Yeah, it's hard.
Because Eddie, where do young men go to learn how to be a man? In the urban Black community, much of it is the gangs.
Yeah.
Because now you talk about, the Democrats, co-opting the Black community. It was a concentrated effort. I think it started in the early 60s. And Lyndon Johnson played a big role.
Well, actually, what it was, it started during Kennedy. And he had this one advisor, I can't think of his name right now, but he was very instrumental in boosting Martin Luther King. And because Kennedy really didn't care about Black people himself. I mean, there's actual quotes.
It wasn't
a
big issue for him.
It wasn't an issue at all until this guy convinced him to take.
But then Lyndon Johnson started, the what do you call it?
Civil Rights Act.
Civil Rights Act
of 64 and 65.
And the whole, welfare transformation, and the Black woman learned that she could kick the old man out and the government would be a provider.
Yeah, that was actually Lyndon Johnson.
Exactly.
With the, what is that called? Something America or, my uncle had the funniest saying about that.
Well, they were going to get rid of poverty.
War on Poverty. Yeah. War on Poverty was Lyndon Johnson.
Right.
And my uncle said they came to him and asked him, would you like to join the War on Poverty? He said, yeah, as a victim. But
But here's what I'm saying. At the same time, you had the old traditional, especially Southern Democrat Party, the George Wallace wing. Right. And you and
Lester Maddox,
Yeah, you and I were there in 67, 68, the Chicago Convention where the Wallace people left the party. Lester Maddox left the party. They ran and won a number of states' electoral colleges because they were not going to accept Humphrey, who was Lyndon Johnson's vice president. Mm-hmm. And eventually in 72, Wallace runs again and gets shot, spends the rest of his life in a wheelchair, nearly died. And it was that fight, that concentrated effort, and the communists co-opted the Black community to take over the Democrat Party.
Right.
And historically, the party which was most against the Black man.
Right. And the Black community has since been co-opted by the feminists and gays. So now, that's who's driving the ship.
Gays, and then gay plus.
LGBT plus.
Because what's
LGBT
happened?
Plus.
Feminists are no longer protected class. They are a target.
That's true. But see, it keeps moving. It keeps shifting.
Yes.
So it went from the black plight to the female plight, then to the gay plight, gay and bi plight, and then, no, you're exactly right.
And so the feminist today is finding allies on the right. Oh gosh, what's the gal's name? I see her on with Steve Bannon a lot.
Oh, I know you.
Feminist from New York.
Black hair.
No, this is kind of auburn hair. I forget her name.
Well, I think
she's a pretty famous traditional feminist thinker. And it was during COVID that she really turned.
Yeah, I think it's your eyesight. Her hair is dark.
Okay. Anyway.
I know who you're talking about.
And I mean, we picked up a couple of the most classic traditional liberals, right. Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy, are literally lead, people in the Trump administration.
Well, it's crazy. Who seems to be shifting slowly but surely is Bill Maher.
Yes.
That is interesting to see that, because I think the Democrats have gone so far out there that even they realize they're destroying our country. But the sad thing is, you got people like my neighbor who are so, and probably a part of it is because she has a gay daughter.
Yeah.
Or stepdaughter, actually. And so out of her, what Archie Bunker used to call them bleeding heart liberals.
Okay.
All of these compassionate people and Democrats, they're just allowing all of these things, and their mind is shifting. And it's so funny. You have all these people that are anti-gay until one of their kids shows up gay. Then all of a sudden, I was wrong, and I still love my child, and I want my child to be with the person they loved, all this kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, so you would rather them be with this person and go to hell than to not be with this person and not go to hell. And so, and I'm just going to put out, that's the choices. That's the choices. And you cannot, you just can't do that. You talk about homie, don't play that.
Yeah.
Jesus doesn't play that. God doesn't play it. He has all the compassion and love for people who understand, we call him the penitent sinner. The person who is trapped in drugs, the person who's trapped in sin, whatever it is, he offers forgiveness and acceptance to you, but you have to want it. You have to realize that it means something.
There are some people, Eddie, if you don't mind me using a phrase, that ride the altar to heaven. They struggle. They never seem to get completely over it, but they're constantly striving. And that's a genuine heart. And even the person, I don't care what kind of sexual deviancy, perversion, or, alternative you want to talk about, seeking God, even in our imperfections, even our weakness and our failings, it has merit. But pride in our sin, pride in our decadence, God resists the proud.
Oh, man.
It gives grace to the humble.
Whoopi is bragging that she's had, 14 abortions or something? I say, yeah. So basically, you're here bragging and boasting about murdering 14 children.
Again, it's the pride in it, the arrogance. God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble.
Yeah.
It's not about whether you've overcome every sin in your life, but you're finding a need for a savior and a desire to please God and honor him with your life.
A great example of that, and it was kind of portrayed in, after the X-Files went off, they did a movie. And in that movie, there was a priest who was caught up in pornography, I think, and maybe seeing prostitutes or something like that. And they had a scene where he is talking to Mulder and just expressing what he goes through. And alcoholism among priests. I don't know how it is now, but it used to be a big problem. And with this priest, he just, I've never heard it, portrayed like it was, just the battle that he had to go through about this, a sexual addiction or whatever it was, alcohol addiction. And it more than anything really dealt with and exposed the battle, the fight, the realities of that spiritual battle that people have. You like you said, you can be proud of being a Christian. What's the other thing? Or remember the old saying, I think the Muslim prayer, I thank thee, O God, that thou hast not made me a dog or a woman. And you can, the Christian version of that would be, I thank you, O God, that I'm not like them. Yeah.
And whenever we compare ourselves to other men, we completely deceive ourselves because that is never our standard.
No.
Eddie, let me ask you this about the priesthood thing and the celibacy that's presumed to be required. If you took and try to go there with me, Eddie, remove cultures, remove civilizations, everything, and just think of humanity itself. Think of men. What % of men would choose a celibate lifestyle? Totally separate from regardless of what culture.
Right.
Just within himself, where do you have peace?
Maybe 1%.
Okay. So churches that require celibacy for even applying for priesthood is now limiting themselves to 1% of the kingdom of God. What are you going to get? Because I grew up in a big Catholic church, which was one of 4 Catholic churches in my town of 7,000, and 4 Catholic churches. And our church had 3 priests, just our church. Today, I was up talking to my mom and my sister, who are very active in the Catholic Church there in my hometown. They now group together 6 churches in about a 10-mile radius, and they have 2 priests to handle 6 parishes. No, 10. Yeah, something like 6 parishes, 6 or 7 in that area. They are so hurting for people saying, yes, I'll commit my life to that. Now I'm going back to where you're saying, if you get somebody who's a candidate, goes through seminary, which is kind of like getting a doctorate, right? And they're not at peace with their personal choice about their celibate life. How do they deal with their discontentment? How do they deal with their lack of satisfaction, their God-given urges, their God-given passions, their God-given cravings, and they have no outlet?
I think, fortunately, today, they'll quit. Like Father Jonathan Morris of Fox, he gave up his priesthood because he fell in love.
I saw the girl he married. She was worth it. He was a great spokesman, great communicator.
And he's still on there. I mean, he still speaks to Catholic. It doesn't mean he's not a Catholic any longer. And the thing about Jonathan, he was riding that fence a little bit, but he was always pretty much straight. He would tell the truth and deal with issues how they actually appeared.
And I'll tell you, when I first went up to Bible school, in fact, the summer before, actually the spring before that, I'd been accepted, and that a girl wanted me to go with her to her senior prom, and I went with her, and I told my buddy, I said, no, we got a double date with you two. Well, he didn't want to, he's pretty serious. I said, he said, why? I said, because you go on a single date to the prom, the most satisfaction is by getting really romantic. Okay. And I'll just leave it there. But you go on a double date, you can have more fun without getting into the whole romance. So we did. And I remember
SEX people, SEX.
Yes. And we ended up out at a park afterwards. And I just told my buddy Joe and Julie, I said, hey, I want to take her for a walk. You guys can stay here, while they stayed in the back seat of the car. And I just took this gal. I really thought she's a sweet lady. In fact, her older brother was a Catholic priest. And I just had to explain to her. I said, it's not that you're not a beautiful girl. It's not that I don't honestly like you. But I'm at a place in my life that I'm focusing all my attention on God's calling for me, his direction. And I've got to make that a priority. And there may be some young men who are considering the seminary because of their same desire that for right now I can shut up. But that doesn't mean the rest of your life you're going to shut up.
Right.
Because I finished up at Bible school and that. And what was I interested in? Another gal back home. That is now my wife of 40-some years.
Well, it's interesting, but I've told people this, especially young people when they went for counseling for, lust or this, that, or that, or, waiting till you're married now. And actually, it was first presented to me by the pastor that we had before I got married. And I remember now he would say, you think you're dealing with lust now. Wait till you get married. I mean, he just put it that simply.
That's a good point.
He said, there's the mystery of marriage, the mystery of sex and all of that before you're married, if you remain celibate. But then when it's like everything else, you crave chocolate until you have chocolate all the time, right? You want to be rich until you're rich, and then all of a sudden you're worried about taxes, you're worried about this, and people stealing it from you, and all of a sudden being rich doesn't seem that big of a deal anymore. And so what do? You got to find something else. So when you get married, you're into the ritual routine, whatever. The thing that keeps marriages together is people that see marriage as it's a partnership. And you have to keep, focused. You have to keep focused. What are you really here for? And you just don't let stuff they do bother you anymore. You just kind of, well, that's her, and that's him, and that type of thing. And what always gets me is when you read about some famous person, they've what is it? Irreconcilable issues. They're irreconcilable. It usually means the sex isn't good anymore. I mean, that's irreconcilable. The wife doesn't want to sleep with him anymore. And so what does he do? I'm out of here. I got to go find me another one. So, I mean, I'm just breaking it down. This is the reality of things. And back to the priesthood aspect. Yeah, Paul even says, if you can't not lust, burn essentially with lust, then don't try to be a celibate. You get married. The calling, celibacy is a gift, a spiritual. I believe it's a spiritual gift like other things. There are people who truly have a gift of celibacy. Now, a lot of the problems today, some of them, it's not the celibacy thing. It's that the same-sex attraction. That's the other thing. And that's a whole other animal. But there are people that are so gifted and ability, they're almost eunuchs. They just don't have a sexual drive.
If we could go with that phrase, because Jesus was asked by his disciples about eunuchs. It means a castrated man. Okay. And he said, there are some who are made eunuchs of men. Like when the Sultan will need somebody to care for his harem,
right? He
chops his jewels off, and he's like, okay, he ain't going to impregnate her. Two, he ain't going to have the hots for her, any of them, right? And but he said some have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of God.
Right.
It's part of their desire. They say, I would call it a fasted life.
My question is, I've always questioned or wondered about that, made themselves eunuchs. Did that mean they chopped it off themselves, or they were just able to mentally and spiritually become eunuchs to choose a celibate life?
I think you could say all of the above, any of the above.
Because to me, the self-mutilization is not a godly thing. People have tried it throughout history, some people, and it usually does not turn out well.
For whatever reason. I mean, look, Eddie, there are people have to have their thyroid removed, their gallbladder removed, because of it's a choice and it has a downside.
So you're saying a person that wants to be a priest today should
no.
removed.
I'm not recommending it for anybody.
Right.
Okay. I will say this. If somebody was, one, wait till you finish puberty, because there's major impacts.
See, that's the big problem. A lot of people, they feel they started feeling or being told that they're called to priesthood when they're young.
Pre-pubis.
Right.
Yeah. But if you look up, do a study on a group called the castrados, okay? Mm-hmm. In the 17th, 18th, and 19th century, in the boy choirs of Europe,
boys choir,
you would have several. And what would happen is the directors would say, he's got a perfect soprano voice. When he hits puberty, he's going to lose it. And they've outlawed it. I think the last castrato died in like 1927. Okay. They actually found some recordings, and you can hear an Italian castrato. But what was written about them is they became freaks. Their growth spurt they just looked awkward, goony. And so it messes up your physical development all around. As an example, Eddie, the whole, transgender sports thing, it should never be allowed that a man compete in a woman's physical competition, right, even if he was castrated and they could prove his testosterone level was down to that of a woman, because women actually have a natural testosterone level. So, because he benefited at 22 from 10 years of that testosterone development into a superhuman body. I mean, compared to a female body, and so it's that important. And this is why, I first heard about, this whole transgender thing and everything. About 10 years ago, I was just shocked. I said, I thought we got rid of that 100 years ago with the castratos.
Yeah, it's just reversed. It's girls now instead of guys. But there are still guys who want to transition.
Either way, when you interrupt it prepubescent.
Yeah.
Can you
imagine?
But if a person has gender dysphoria, which most of them are groomed into that by middle school counselors or whoever else, and that, what's the best therapy for that? Puberty. Because a guy may not be sure of his masculinity, but when puberty hits, oh my God, he'll get reminded of it. And so this is why they're screwing it. They're messing up with things. And look, I have, for the most part, no confidence in our higher education, the liberal arts colleges, because most of them can't even figure this out.
Yeah. Well, see, to me, it's never about what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
The real, it's like always with Satan. And if you don't believe in the spiritual world, I'm sorry for you. You're really messed up. But deep down, it all goes back to that he will try to do anything to mess up the plan of God. And so I mean, I don't understand. I cannot understand how, other than a spirit has spread across our nation and the world, if you will, to convince us, or to some, that you can take a 7-year-old boy and turn him into a girl, or a 7-year-old girl and turn him into a boy, turn her into a boy. It just baffles me that anybody could be that dumb or that evil to do that. But people are just accepting it everywhere.
Yeah. But here's what's going on in Minneapolis, because I'm going to tie this in, because I found this problem to be very, very significant in Minnesota. The whole transgender ideology stuff they're pitching through the public schools, the universities for sure. And I mean, I spent a week up there. Not a word in the state and local media about all the corruption. And isn't that just like Satan? What did C.S. Lewis said? Satan wants us either to not believe he exists or have a healthy interest in him.
By the way, I have come to a recent revelation within myself.
Yeah.
I don't expect everybody to accept it, but I don't believe Satan is one person. I don't believe Satan. There's like this one Lucifer. I don't think Lucifer and Satan are the same person. I believe Satan is the demonic world in general. See, because only God is omnipresent. Satan's not, or Lucifer is not omnipresent. So one devil cannot speak to individuals all over the world.
You make a very important point.
And what does Satan mean?
Well, that's true. Because when Jesus was asked, he says, I beheld Lucifer.
Right.
There is an archangel Lucifer who fell and took a third with him. Right. So yes, there is. Remember, Jesus cast 1,000 demons out of one person. Right. Yes, I agree with you. When we refer to Satan, a lot of times we're talking about the enemy forces, satanic forces.
And when you see a movie or something, somebody meets, so you see the guy with the horns or this evil entity. But no, I believe Satan, the enemy, is the enemy, which is the spirit.
Yes.
That's behind, and these demons trying to get the spirit of Lucifer into all, which is the biggest one is rebellion. That's the first one, rebellion and dissatisfaction with your status.
Remember when Jesus said to Peter, and figuratively said, "Get behind me, Satan." Mm-hmm. Of course, he wasn't talking to Satan,
right?
But it's representing that satanic plot,
that spirit,
right,
behind it.
And but you're right. And most people will never deal directly with Satan.
Right.
But what did Paul say? The warfare we fight is against principalities and powers and
spiritual wickedness in high places.
Right. Yeah. And so, Andy, I think my response is both are true. And I think you make an important point when you say you're dealing with the powers and the whole network, the army of Satan.
Well, I would call it a satanic army, but I don't think there is a Satan. Hi, Mr. Satan. I'm Eddie.
Is there a Lucifer?
Yes, I believe there. Okay. I believe, there was an entity, an angel who is the leader of the rebellion and is probably at the head of it. Mm-hmm. But remember in Daniel, when he did the fast and God sent Gabriel and he was by the prince of Babylon. Was it Persia? Yeah, that's right. It was Persia. Okay. Mm-hmm. The prince of Persia withstood him. And then different times you hear prince of this, the prince of that, the prince of that.
That's a figurative term, isn't it? It wasn't a human being who withstood him.
Oh, right. Oh, it was a spiritual being. It was I believe it's an angel who's given assignment over a particular.
I don't know if that was an angel. I think it was a demonic
fallen
force.
Angel.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. When I talk about angels, I'm talking good and bad.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was a fallen angel who's the prince of Babylon, the prince of Persia. In fact, the prince of Persia, what did he say? He would be followed by another one or something. He had to go on and anyway, there were princes of different.
Right, and God
countries and
dispatched
nations.
another angel to help him in that battle so
Right.
he could get to Daniel.
Right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's just the way. And I've just recently thought about this. That we sit there and are so focused on Satan, the devil,
as though he's omnipresent, right?
Yeah. There's no omnipresent. You have probably assigned demons or spirits that are whispering in your ear, causing you to do these things. But it's not just one person. The whole spirit is a conspiracy against God by these myriads of demons that are attacking the people of the world. And so that's just something I wanted to throw out there. Yeah. Boy, this is an interesting program today. Yeah. A lot of new stuff.
I don't know how we got on that, but I do think that there is a spiritual corruption that's hit my native state of Minnesota, especially the Twin Cities. It's so dark.
What I could postulate that the spirit that was on the people and destroyed Somalia has come into Minnesota.
Ooh, there's a thought.
Yeah. I mean, the spirit of the people follows the people. That's why God did not want the Israelites to associate with any other, because they were just a corrupt, godless people.
There's one place in Scripture where he refers to a familiar spirit, right? So yes, there are powers and principalities
demons
over tribes and people.
Right. Yeah. Right. Nations. Right. Yeah. Right. Nations. Exactly. Yeah.
That gives me a lot of insight. Now, I have to say this.
The Prince of Somalia. You had the Prince of Persia, the Prince of Babylon, Prince of Somalia, Prince of the United States.
Yeah. Now, on immigration, let's take a spiritual lesson from this.
Okay.
Because Moses did give instruction to the tribes going into the promised land. And he talked about the sojourner, the individual. Says, can I be among your people and be part of your people? Will you accept me into your community? And they're commanded to show hospitality because he says, you were once those foreigners.
Exactly.
Okay. And there's a difference between the individual who says, you know what? I want to leave my people and join your people. Don't treat that person with the disdain you would of an invading army or an invading people, or people that says, what was yours is now mine.
Yeah. See what America has done, and Europe even worse. Mm-hmm. We've allowed these people in that basically are the antithesis of everything this nation was founded upon. Mm-hmm. Europe has done it big time.
Yeah.
And the Eastern European lands, they say, that ain't happening. Mm-hmm. You're not going to change our culture.
Yeah.
And we as Americans have fallen into what England is the worst, absolute worst. And in fact, you cannot even, you'll be arrested if you speak against Islam there in England now at that point. And so, but we're heading that way. And if we continue to allow cities and areas of cities to be balkanized and where you have, this is the Islamic one, this is the German area, the thing about America, it's always been a melting pot.
Yeah.
But what did we melt into? One nation under God, indivisible.
Yes.
Now what we've got several nations that are divisible and divided. And that's the difference.
What's happened is there was a term back in the 80s called the New World Order, right? And we were taught, beware of this. And it happened. Here's how it happened. George Bush talked about the New World Order. Okay. He's a skull and bones guy. Okay. Which means he has a secret life he won't tell us about in associations. And Clinton, especially Hillary Clinton, became very much a part of it. And it shocked us that George W. Bush, again, another skull and bones member, whether or not that had anything to do with it. But you got people with secret societies. And then Tony Blair And what happened after the fall of the Soviet Union, the New World Order, and this globalist agenda took place? We can now look back and see how it happened and how it then led to, of course, Barack Obama became the architect of implementing it along with, what's her name? Angela Merkel. And then you saw the entire EU become this global confederation and implement mandates on it, which people like Viktor Orban in Hungary said, hell no. Hungary is for the people of Hungary, right. And we're not changing our culture. And now we can see it's become manifest, what the battle we're fighting, but we're 20 years late to the battle, Eddie.
Yeah. People didn't see it, that there's a war.
Yeah.
That we don't see. There's an unseen war.
Yeah.
Principalities, power, spiritual wickedness in high places.
No, we can point to the Bilderbergers, the Illuminati. We can point to the World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab. We can name all kinds of suspects. You know, what's his name? The guy who owns most of the district attorneys.
Soros.
George Soros. Yeah. There's a lot of suspects we could point the finger to. And ultimately, it's what the agenda is that I'm more concerned about, rather than.
Well, what I'm concerned about more than that is the ease with which the populace is being swayed by these people. That, you know, the whole basic psyche of America has been infiltrated and corrupted.
Yeah.
To where, getting back to what we talked about earlier, where, you know, this lady only has several shoplifting deals, crimes against her that she's guilty of. Just, we're going to overlook that.
Right.
This person has this or this. Oh, we're not going to, you know, in other words, when does crime quit being a crime?
Well, this is where the media comes in.
Right.
Because back in the late 90s, you had very few alternative media on the right. I think Alex Jones being one of them. And now you've got Eddie and me and millions more that aren't doing it for a career. We aren't doing it for money. I know Eddie got a pay raise. I didn't. Just kidding. But
yeah, that's HUFF, not HOUGH, HUFF when you send those checks.
Yeah. And we're doing it because of a love of country,
right? Not
for personal gain or what we can get out of it. You know, we're not getting as rich as Ilhan Omar's suddenly is. You know, and this is the thing, Eddie, but it's coming from the people, and the people will rise up.
But again, I think it's from Satan, the spirit of Satan, the enemy, the spirit of the enemy. And so, but what is it, you know, that if it were possible, even the elect could be deceived?
Yes.
And the people are being deceived.
Yes.
There's a strong spirit of delusion in the world today. And we're so busy looking here and here and here and here that, you know, we don't see, or at least we don't want to believe that things are like they are. And so
what does Romans 2 said? They would not accept the truth, so God gave them over to a reprobate mind. The mind doesn't even work right.
Right.
It's, you know, don't send your kids to some liberal state university thinking that they're going to be advanced in their personal development. It ain't going to happen. Unless
they're just a born evangelist with a gift and unshakable faith.
There's always that.
But it's a risk, no matter who, because a lot of people went to school as Bible thumpers and come out of there as atheists.
Yeah. And they've enriched the same bunch that are corrupting the rest of us.
Right.
I mean, Biden wanted to just totally, you know, get rid of all of that debt for him because they're doing that work of the enemy.
And what do you think will happen as soon as he gets rid of the debt? they'll get more.
Yeah.
Hey, there's free money. I'm just going to college. I'll stay in. I mean, you could literally make your college your career.
Yeah.
It's my 15th year at UCLA.
Yep.
And you got this, $2 million debt. And then they're going to write it off.
Yeah, we got to get on some other stories.
All right, get on it.
All right, a local one. I want to commend our guest from the last 2 weeks, David Oldham, for really taking a leadership role in coordinating this community response to what I call the Broken Arrow Mosque mandate. Mm-hmm. Because last Monday night, the Planning Commission for Broken Arrow met. They knew they were going to have a turnout, so they went out to the NSU campus way out on the east side and had their auditorium. 1,300 people showed up. They cut off the request to speak after 500 people had requested. It was soundly denied. Our friend Kelly Dunkerley was there, and he did a report on it. He said, there is a chance that they switch this from agricultural to commercial.
Right.
Okay. Now, I pointed out to David when I called him, I said, that's actually in Kelly Dunkerley's best interest. Because if this mosque decides to sell the land, it now becomes taxable property for property taxes to the county, to Kelly, at not agricultural, but commercial value.
Right. Okay. This is what has led Dallas and Detroit and what is the town in Michigan? There's a town where
Dearborn.
This is what's done it. The city elders, if you will, have thought, we'll turn this into this and get a bunch of money come in, and next thing you know, boom.
Yeah.
It's not what you...
But here's what David told me, gave me a report of it. He said, because they wanted their own septic system, they said 50,000 gallon, which is like a major swimming pool, right? 50,000 gallon, which requires a leach field. And by the way, the rules for leach field, you can't put that underneath concrete because you get a methane gas buildup. The leach field is where because I put in a leach field last winter with my son. You have these tubes, these 4-inch PVC pipe with holes every so often so that
it escapes into the atmosphere.
Sewage water can trickle out a couple feet underground, and the methane gases come out. Right. So it has to be earth that gases can come up through, right? So, and I said, they can't do that. They don't have enough land to do that.
Right.
It won't support it. And you can't put a single piece of concrete pavement for a parking lot and still have that septic tank.
Right.
So, the plans completely were rejected.
So we can be excited that it's going to be in somebody else's neighborhood.
Yeah, but
the people of BA are rejoicing.
So Wednesday, Steve Bannon, Trump's campaign manager from 16, on his War Room show, he just raved at the people of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, for mobilizing, taking a stand, and doing something about it. Because he's now started a TV show, at least for the next couple months, War Room Texas, to help Texas combat this.
Yeah, Plano, Texas in particular, is where they've had this issue with the mosque. And same with Dearborn, like you said. The way it works is they'll build a mosque, and then what they do, people that don't want to be with the mosque will move out. Mm-hmm. And so they'll move Muslims into their community, and then they'll make it eventually unlivable for an American culture-wise. Yeah. And then more move out and more move out. And it's so bad in certain areas up in the north that the people actually are accosted. I think Dearborn, they even have Islamic police with Arabic writing on their car.
It's written in
on their cars, which is just silly, to be an American, you have to be reading in
so when
Arabic.
we had this big immigration from the 1880s through about the 1920 or so, Teddy Roosevelt, at the height of it, wrote a great thesis. Actually, it was a speech. He said, there's no room in America for hyphenation. But you're either American or you're not. Mm-hmm. And if you're an American, you should have all the rights of every other American. But you must assimilate. It became what we call the melting pot.
Right, melting pot, yeah.
And here's the thing. What we have to do in America is come up with a new policy on immigration, period. And it's going to have to be selective, saying we will take people who will assimilate. But if they come from cultures that cannot assimilate,
then you can't come.
Then you just can't. You just can't. You can leave your people and become part of our people.
Yeah, we have become from the melting pot to a smelting pot.
Yes.
Smelting is the opposite of
where you separate.
We separate.
Yeah. And so that's really what our challenge is.
Yeah. That's exactly right. But could you, if you can take that Teddy Roosevelt speech or whatever and post it on the website?
I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah.
Because I think it'd be something worthwhile.
He says, in only one flag, the American flag.
That's it.
If you see people flying the flag of the country that they're now claiming to need asylum from, there's something wrong here.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Why did you come here if your country is so good? You got this, it always got me. The U.S. national team would play their games in L.A. Mm-hmm. And, they'd have, 60, 70,000, maybe up to 90,000 people. And they're all Hispanic.
Yeah.
Because Mexico is playing America. Mm-hmm. And they're cheering for Mexico.
Yeah.
The country they left.
Right.
And it sounds like a crass statement when we say, go home, go back to your country. Mm-hmm. We're the biggest because we say go back to your country. But what's really happening, they're bringing their country to us. And either you have an American identity or you don't. And that's the problem. It's not gonna get any better with all of these different balkanized.
Yeah, and quite honestly, who you root for in sports really isn't as big as who you're willing to die for.
Well, yeah, no, I disagree because if they're that rabidly fans of the other country, that means in sports they're going to be that rabidly enamored with their culture when they come here. They don't want to give up that other culture. Just imagine if after World War II, the Germans came over here and tried to institute a Nazi mentality in America, right?
Yeah.
It
here's a difference.
We'd be a whole different country.
I'll quote a couple of people. One who you respect greatly, a couple that I don't have permission to say their name, but the wife said to me a couple of years ago, she says, Dave, I love my Catholic faith, but right now I'm so mad at my Catholic Church. There's a difference between the governing structure that's embedded in corruption, in your distrust of them, is separate from the body of your beliefs, your people, your values. You can separate those two. But
the question, will you? And here's the real problem. Here's why. And I had this record label. You've seen my CDs. Yeah. And so I went to Nashville and to this Black Gospel recording.
Sure.
I'm sorry. It was a publishing play we were trying to get. It's called Gospel Today. It's a Black magazine for gospel music fans.
Okay.
And so somehow this guy had heard that I'd been to Africa. He was the head of the deal. It was owned by a woman, but their CEO was this guy, and he heard he comes running out. Oh, Brother Huff, hey, man, I hear you've been to the motherland. You've been to Africa, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell me, what did we bring back? What did we bring back from the motherland? Mm-hmm. I said, you really want to know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you sure you want to know? He said, yeah. So tribalism. Yeah. the guy got angry. He got so mad. He started cussing and turned around and walked back into his office. Yeah. He didn't want to hear it. And that's the problem. That's what it is. We've created tribalism. Mm-hmm. That's what gangs, basically our gang violence, our gang culture in the urban communities goes back to different tribes, and you just true to your tribe. And it's for some reason the Europeans were able to a great extent get rid of it. Yeah, but I'll give you an example. Yesterday I was with a client, his family. Yeah. I'm just doing what you do. Okay. Uh-huh. I'll try to back down on that. This family is Mormon family, mm-hmm. in Mormon leadership for years. Not right now, but mom and dad went to University of Utah, and which is significantly Mormon. Okay, right. It's the state university, mm-hmm. right? But their kids all went to or have been to BYU. And we talked about that rivalry, because mom and dad. It's like Texas OU. They're like, well, I think it's more like Texas Baylor. That would be close. I'll let you go ahead. But it's, here is this Mormon bishop saying, go Utah, beat BYU. Okay. Yeah. Now, is he anti-Mormon for not rooting for BYU? No. See, I take it a little easy when it comes to just sports. But because I might root for the other team because my cousin's an athlete on that team. Right, but I guarantee you that there are BYU people that think that way of the University of Utah students, You remember when OU won the national championship back about 25 years ago? My third cousin was Chris Winkie, the quarterback in Heisman Trophy. Miami. It was Florida State. Was he at Florida State? That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was Florida State. But it was family. Yeah. And I'm home for Christmas, and my mom said, are you going to root for your cousin's football team to win the championship? And I didn't know he was my cousin. Yeah. Well, third cousin, but he's cousin, And I said, no, I'm a Sooner fan, Yeah, but see, it's a whole different level, though. And we can't understand it. See, again, I liken it to tribalism. Tribalism is transferred into nationalism, mm-hmm. and we got rid of that. Mm-hmm. As far as the different cultures, mm-hmm. we united as one nation. Mm-hmm. That's why in World War I and II, Black young people lined up to join an army, even though mm-hmm. it was segregated army. Yeah. And they were still persecuted in America. They couldn't go into places in probably 20 states in America. I get that. But yet they had enough pride in their nation that what can you do? What did Jesus say? No greater love hath a man than laid down his life for his fellow man. Yeah. That's what these young Black people were doing, laying down their lives for people who despise them, okay? Yeah. And so there's something about a national pride that supersedes. You can't just compare it to sports or athlete or anything else. It's a deeper. I agree. National and religious thing. That's why you have these feuds between church groups and so forth and so on. And when you get Northern division, Ireland, that's a bad one. Yeah, exactly. But I talked to a guy this morning, by the way, just to throw this in. They still hate each other. Oh yeah, they've just decided to live in a peace that they can both put up with. Yeah, but it's just crazy that they hate each other that much. So here's the point I want to get, and I'm kind of excited to make this point. Remember the demonization of Trump? They said he's a nationalist, like Adolf Hitler.
the supremacy of the Aryans and that. I don't know of a world leader today who's less of that than Donald Trump.
Right.
Do you hear his wonderful words for the Venezuelan people? His glowing words for the Iranian or the Persian people? He is on the side of the people to become great again for their nation. That's not what Hitler would do. He'd call them dogs. Okay? There's a difference between the people in the government. My friend Porter Davis, rest his soul, he a former legislator, he said this. He says, war happens when your nation tells you who the enemy is. Revolution happens when you figure it out for yourself. Because sometimes your government is not the good guy. Sometimes you have to root for your people, not your government.
I want to say, though, Hitler was not truly a nationalist. He was an ethnicist.
Good point.
It was all about ethnicity.
That's a great point. The distinction being?
The distinction being nationalist was where when you live in a country and it's your country and you live and die for your country.
It's your citizenship.
It's your citizenship. Right, exactly. It means something. With Hitler, it was the race.
Yes.
And so that's why so many people throughout when they still try to use it, they throw Nazi at Trump or somebody. They try to make it look like he's for white power or something.
Yeah.
That is so far from everything being true that it I won't take time even to address it, okay? So, and what the people, see, what's so funny, because Nazi, the first word is national, okay? And, but that doesn't mean nationalist.
Yeah.
The second word is the important word in Nazi. And that's, it's the third letter, the Z, socialist, which is socialist, okay? So the Nazis were national socialists. They were not social nationalists. There's a distinction, okay?
Yeah.
He didn't care if you were a German citizen. He wanted you to be a blonde-haired, blue-eyed German, and so he considered, that's why the Jews, blacks, Spaniards, whatever, and homosexuals suffered greatly under Hitler. They were eradicated as well. So the people they say, don't get it twisted. National Socialist Party is what Nazi stands for, not nationalism. Okay, he did not have a spirit of naturalism. In fact, what did he do? He wanted to take over part of France. He wanted to take over all of Holland, Belgium, Poland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, and he probably eventually would have gone north. And they all have different cultures, different people and different backgrounds. He wasn't for that. He just wanted power, and he wanted to establish this pure race.
Yeah, and you said it right there. It's power.
Yeah.
That was the thing. But here's the deal. I looked up a map of mid-18th century or Europe. I couldn't find Germany. I found all these little kingdoms, all these little, fiefdoms and stuff. Right, yeah. But as a people, what were they called? The Gauls were the French. Who were the German?
The Huns.
Huns, yeah. And so there is a commonality, but they were under different kind of kingdoms.
Right. Actually, the person that united all of those back then was Charlemagne.
Okay.
Charlemagne's empire, they call it his empire. And so, like where I was born, the main city is Nuremberg. Okay. And it's called, the area is called Franken.
Yes.
Franks.
Yes.
Or French, basically. And so Charlemagne ruled all of that. And so they were very loyal to France.
Yeah.
And then later, the Germans when the Kaiser came in and they divided again.
That's it.
That's when it was.
Because before Kaiser, you really had the Gauls, Napoleon, all that. Their empire kept butting up against the Austro-Hungarian empire.
Right.
And it was the war, and Germany was kind of the middle battleground of being fought over.
Right.
But
and so the Kaiser, it just means emperor. That's the word for emperor. So he was the emperor until Hitler came in and got rid of the empire.
So if I could go on to what's going on in Iran.
Yeah. The revolution it's a new, well, I guess you would call it a counter revolution, because the old 70, 74, 75?
No, it'd be 78, 79.
Was it that late?
78,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because when they shot it down, the airplane, we were getting our hostages out. That was in the late 70s, yeah.
79.
Yeah, I think it started around 75, though.
Well,
when they first started.
The Shah was deposed more like 77.
Really?
There was a battle going on. Khomeini was in Paris. And he's sending these cassette tapes over and getting the people worked up, and it met critical mass.
But get back to the original point. That was the Iranian Revolution.
Yeah.
So now what we're having is an Iranian counter-revolution to take the land back for liberty and freedom and so forth.
Yeah. Because when it reached critical mass, it was seen as being led by the college students. Mm-hmm. And the college students got co-opted pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
it's so funny though. Do you remember this guy, the big spokesman for them? His name was Bonnie Sauter.
Yes.
You remember that? He would be on all the time. It's Bonnie. Here we are. It's Edward R. Murrow, and we're going to go down to. We have Bonnie Sauter. Bonnie Sauter. As soon as they got back in power, you know what happened to Bonnie Sauter?
He was executed. You know what his last words were? I saw the light on the satanic regime and sought to expose it.
Oh, yeah. So he had pure motives, but he was being used. And that's what's happening in America right now. These campus riots, all of the things you see and you think, the anti-Trump venom and motivation that you're seeing among all these college students and others, it's the same spirit.
They're useful idiots.
The same thing. Useful idiots, yeah.
Yeah. So something's happening in Greenland.
Well, yeah, but wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what do you think? Do you think they'll be successful?
Oh, great point. We never finished it.
No,
well, I think Trump, it looks like he's doing exactly what he did in Venezuela. Because Wednesday night, I'm watching Newsmax. Rob Schmidt comes on. He says, man, they're saying war is imminent. And he's talking it up really big, really big. Well, that happened for about a week in the Caribbean off the coast of Venezuela. And then it looked like things were dying down. Now, Trump is back in Mar-a-Lago, but he was in Mar-a-Lago when Venezuela happened. In fact, Rob Schmidt said it was over the New Year's Eve, New Year's holiday. He's actually invited to have dinner at the Mar-a-Lago, dining room. And he says, I had an idea. Someone's going. It's Friday night. He says, because I see Marco Rubio over there. Every so many minutes, he's getting up. He's on his phone talking and pacing. He goes, sits down. He says, and then he would see, Trump over here. He did not see our war secretary, Pete Hegseth. Pete was really busy, managing everything. But, they're all making the show of that they're just enjoying New Year's weekend at Mar-a-Lago. But they're invading.
So they have a war room.
The war room was set up in Mar-a-Lago, right off the dining room. And, and we didn't know about it. Rob said, I knew something was going on, but he says, one, I was on vacation. Two, is I'm not going to be the journalist who blows the cover.
Yeah, no. But, yeah, they have to, the other side, they have to gin up new and more animosity against the administration to keep it going. Yeah. And so I think a lot of this, a violence and what do you call it, rigmarole about the shooting in Minneapolis is being drummed up to take attention away from the governor and what's going on there, the corruption.
Yeah,
because you don't hear about that in the mass media.
Right, but now there's new allegations of inciting sedition.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, last night, a federal investigation was opened up by the Justice Department against Walz and Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis.
Yeah, well, it's the same with Philadelphia now with this sheriff lady, this overweight sheriff woman who is saying that ICE don't come into Philadelia. I mean, that's as seditionistic
right.
That's a word.
To finish my point, though, on this Iran thing is it's very much like the strategy that Moses and Joshua actually directed about Jericho. Make it look like you're going to war. Make it look like... And after about a week, then stop. And then the next day attack, just when their guards let down. So there's a thought to that. There's also was a report that Netanyahu said, hey, we want to help here. We need a little more time to get ready. So it could be happening as we speak.
Yeah, it might have to, but my preferred method would be to let the CIA and some SEALs help a revolution from within.
Yes.
That's the way to do it. To somehow deal with the police and the armed forces that are killing. I think that I saw yesterday, there were like 1,900 people killed in the uprisings.
Yeah.
And which is terrible, but do they have the moral will to continue with it in the face of all the death?
Right.
If they do, they can't stand against it.
Look at the narrative Trump's put out. He's actually saying, you know what? They were going to publicly hang 800 rioters.
Students or whatever. Yeah.
And now they said they won't. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So he's talking like, hey, I'm going to back down. He's right. To your point on the CIA and the SEALs and that, how did the Taliban get defeated in Afghanistan? It was our CIA and our Navy special forces embedded in the troops of the Northern Alliance. They did it.
Right. But yeah, exactly. But that you see how that worked out. The Taliban outruns the country.
It did.
So, no, I mean, I'm just saying, but that's because it was under Biden. If Trump had remained in, I think it would be a whole different story.
My thinking is we should have left as soon as the Northern Alliance took over power.
Well, yeah, right.
Let them own it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. But what I'm saying, that was the thing, we did it. We were successful in getting the revolution over there. But then idiot Biden pulls everything out of there, gets our people killed, the whole deal. All these people trying to ride a C-27 or C-17. No, a C-5A, I guess those were the really big ones. Can you still, I still, they have films of the guys at 20,000 feet falling off the airplane, and stuff, when they were trying to hang on for and doing this stuff. And then it was too late. Once that front wheel goes up and it's gone, you're done.
Yeah.
So I've got some going back to a little.
Well, if I could just one more point on this, what Trump has done in Venezuela, he says, you know what, we're going to try to be supportive of you guys reforming your country. I think there's a chance you'll see that in Iran. That instead of us imposing, remember how we forced that all the women have to be given a chance to vote, and what was our voting thing is we dipped their eye in ink, and that made them a target.
Yeah,
dip their finger in ink. Sorry, their finger in ink, and then we picked the successor, and that guy ended up being as corrupt as can be.
Right. Well, see, that's a problem right now in Venezuela. You got two women vying for the same spot. The vice president, who a lot of people think is just like Maduro. She was one of his puppets, and and then you got this other lady who got the Nobel Peace Prize and gave it to Donald Trump. That's who everybody would prefer to have.
I don't know that.
Well, that's what it seems like. She's very, very popular with the people.
She's an incredible woman.
Yeah. So,
but still, Eddie, she was the woman who was willing to put her name on the ballot. That doesn't mean she's the ideal choice. She was the one with guts enough when nobody else had guts.
Right. And that's probably why Trump has not tried to take it from the vice president. He's allowing her. He's giving her rope.
Because that vote was not about that woman. That vote was about
Maduro,
not Maduro.
Right.
Anybody but Maduro.
Yeah.
And so I think, and Trump has a lot more insight than we have on this. And he said, I don't think she has the support. But sometimes a weakened enemy is better.
Right. They're more pliable, I guess you could
because
say.
They can take the blame. And you at least get credit saying, you know what, I gave you guys a chance to clean it up. So anyway, I just want to say I'm pretty optimistic on the Iran situation.
I want to, getting back to the Venezuela situation, just showing the fickleness of academia and college students in particular. Mm-hmm. Like last week or week before last, they were all up in arms about what we were doing in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Well, how dare you? You can't get it's a sovereign nation, right? That's totally forgotten now. That's gone because now it's the lady in Minneapolis is the big thing. It shows that they really don't have an agenda. They really don't know what they want. It's just anti-establishment. Yeah. Just anti-Trump.
They want to tear down the United States.
Tear down the United States. And I don't understand how you could be so stupid to do that. What do you, if you give one, what's after? What comes next? What is after you establish tearing down the United States? What's next? Yes. I don't care. We just have to get rid of it. Yeah, right. You're going to do what happened with Lenin. Mm-hmm. In Russia, what happened with Hitler in Germany, and on and on. I mean, history is rife with examples of what happens when you do that. What happened in Iran when they were a free society and free country, and they tore it down, and you got the Ayatollahs.
You could get the Ayatollah, or you could have the Libya we have today, which is a hellhole. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Muammar Gaddafi, for all of his faults, was incredibly successful in running a desert country.
Right.
He found whatever. Now, making an enemy out of the United States was the worst thing he ever could have done. And the crazy thing is, when they took him out, that was part of that Arab Spring CIA.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary and Obama.
Yeah,
Obama. Buck stops at the Oval Office. I'm going to blame Obama, even though I know that was, Newland and Hillary and, that whole bunch. But Muammar Gaddafi, from 9/11 onward, he's whoa.
Yeah,
they're going to come for the radicals, and I am not going to be that radical.
Let me ask you: is what's her name? You mentioned her name just now, Newland.
Yeah,
Victoria Newland. Is she still in office? I mean, running that department? She's State Department.
She's the dark.
She's still there.
No, she's not in official office at all. Better not be.
Okay, I hope not.
In that crazy bunch, a guy that was the Secretary of State, a little wimp. I mean, we just had horrible people.
Well, the head of the CIA, and who's the other one? He's the real evil one. what is his name? Brennan.
Yeah.
Brennan, man. But see, Newland, it's funny because you can look at that. And, somebody you can actually see the evil in their eyes.
Can I say something good about
Victoria
Brennan?
Newland, man.
There's actually, I saw Brennan commended Donald Trump for what he did in Venezuela.
Yeah.
He said it was measured and it was absolutely right. Now, here's the thing. Maduro may have the goods on Brennan and he wants him locked up. Brennan said what I thought should be said, but I think it was for other reasons.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. Leave me alone. I'm on your side on this.
Yeah. But I think, look, what is Hillary's legacy? It is the Arab Spring.
I think her legacy is ignoring Bill's. No, I'm talking
about as Secretary of State, the legacy in that is, okay, tell me what one of those nations where they overthrew the leadership is improved. A better nation today.
That's true.
Is it Egypt? No. Is it, I can't find him. Now, Syria eventually fell, but that was years after Hillary was gone.
Well, and still a mess. Still a real
exactly.
Mess. Yeah.
They're all still a mess.
Yeah, they're all a mess.
And so we do have to talk Greenland because a development happened this morning.
Okay.
All right. Donald Trump just posted this in Truth Social this morning. He said, we have subsidized Denmark and all the countries in the European Union and others for many years by not charging them tariffs or any forms of remuneration. Now, after centuries, it's time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake! ! There's something he knows about Greenland he's not telling us. Okay. He said, China and Russia want Greenland. And there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have 2 dog sleds as protection. And one added recently, only the United States of America under President Donald J. Trump can play this game, and very successfully at that. Nobody will touch the sacred piece of land, especially since the national security of the United States and the world at large is at stake. On top of everything else, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland have journeyed to Greenland for purposes unknown. That's the troops they sent there. For purposes unknown. This is a very dangerous situation for the safety, security, and survival of our planet. These countries who are playing this very dangerous game have put a level of risk at play that is not tenable or sustainable. Therefore, it is imperative that to protect global peace and security, strong measures to be taken so that this potentially perilous situation ends quickly without question. Starting February 1st, 2026, all of the above mentioned countries, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands and Finland will be charged a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. On June 1st, the tariff will be increased to 25%. This tariff will be due and payable until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. The United States has been trying to do this transaction for over 150 years. Many presidents have tried, and for good reason. But Denmark has always refused. Now, because the Golden Dome and modern-day weapon system, both offensive and defensive, the need to acquire is especially important. Hundreds of billions of dollars are currently being spent on security of Canada, and this very brilliant and highly complex system can only work at its maximum potential and effectiveness because of the angles, meets, and bounds. Angles, meets, and bounds. I'm sorry. If this land is included in it, the United States of America is immediately open to negotiations with Denmark and or the other countries that put so much at risk, despite all that we have done for them, including maximum protection for so many decades. Thank you for your attention to this man, Donald J. Trump.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that Denmark is closer to the United States. Greenland is closer to the United States than it is to Denmark. Mm-hmm. You can't see it so well on globe. But if you get a flat board, and you can see that Greenland is closer to the U.S. than it is to Denmark. And so I don't know how that came about, that Denmark got that giant iceberg, because that's all it is ice. You know the story how they misnamed them. They got them confused and reversed them. Iceland is Greenland.
Leif Erikson. Yeah, the Viking leader, because he went to Iceland first.
Right.
Now, Iceland has tons of thermal hot springs that warm it up.
And it's actually the green one.
Yes. Yeah. And then, it's all in the marketing. Ask Donald J. Trump. He wanted to do that with Greenland, with this bigger island. It was 90% a block of ice. Mm-hmm. It's only at the coast that you actually can see dirt. Right. And so he names it Greenland when it's the ice shelf, Right. But I have to say, Eddie, it's a little bit confusing when you look at a flat map. It looks like all of these lands are so far disconnected from each other. But when you look at it, like you pull up Google Earth or Google Maps, when you get close to North Pole, all of a sudden, these are all so close.
Well, yeah, that does. But if you look at a flat map, compared to Denmark's here, Greenland's here, America's here, you can clearly see that the proximity. Now, Canada is between us and them, but still, the country, or the I don't know if it's a continent or the big iceberg, is closer to the U.S. than it is to
well, yeah, I agree.
Hey, listen, we're going to have to wrap up here because we're well over 2 hours now, and I don't want to bore the people.
I think I got all of it, but you're right. From Maine, you go up over Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and boom, you're at Greenland.
Right.
In fact, when Charles Lindbergh flew the Atlantic the first time, he actually went up that way. Mm-hmm. So it's just close.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny one. When I went to Uganda the last time, actually maybe it was the time before. Anyway, I flew from Dallas nonstop to Doha, Qatar, and then from Qatar I had to fly to Uganda. But anyway, the way the plane went, it went over Minneapolis, from Dallas to Minneapolis. Went straight up.
Yep.
And then over the pole and came back in over Norway, Sweden, Finland, over Russia.
Wow.
All the way over Russia. And then you go down south and you hit, it was funny. We're at like 30,000 feet in Camp. So if you look to your left, there's Tehran. You see Iran on the left and Beirut was on the right. And it was just crazy, that I didn't write. You're flying over Turkey all the way. Because you would think, to get to Africa, you just fly straight across the Atlantic, right?
Yeah.
But no, the short way is...
If you're looking at a flat map, that's how you do it.
Right. Yeah. You got me again. But no, you're flying over the pole and then down south. It's quite an interesting thing. But hey, listen, one last thing, news-wise here that I have, Doge is not done.
Tell me.
If you thought Doge was over, though the federal government's Department of Government Efficiency has been largely disabled, a Louisiana state version dubbed La Doge. La Doge.
Yeah, L.A. Doge, yeah.
Yeah. Has pushed on, and according to an official report, is set to garner $1 billion in annual tax savings.
Wow.
La Doge will achieve a $999.5 million in annual cost savings of both federal and state dollars. And 17 state departments across state departments, according to the report by Governor Jeff Landry. And the report posits that these savings will achieve without any reduction in service. Can you believe? So, Governor Stitt, are you listening?
Yeah.
Maybe we need to have an Okie Doge instead of Okie Doke. Okie Doge, a plan of our own, and try to find some of this money here in this state, because there's a lot of waste and abuse here.
About 10 years ago, I started a blog called Corruption Chronicle. And it just goes through all the corruption in Oklahoma history. And the very last segment in the series, like number 58 or 59, says, at least we're not Louisiana. Because historically, Louisiana kind of has that dubious distinction of being the most corrupt state.
Right.
And remember the Katrina hurricane?
Yeah.
And the levees that broke? Well, the federal government had paid for those levees several times over, and they just never got built. Corruption.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But Landry seems to be a good governor. I mean, I think they've at least gotten themselves a good governor. Hey, what I'm looking for right now is sports. So did I talk about my trip? Have we been here since then?
Yeah, you talked about going to the Panther game.
And then the Sugar Bowl. The Orange Bowl.
Orange Bowl and then Panther.
And then the Panther game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't cover that again. Anyway, National Collegiate Championship in football is down to 2 teams.
Yeah.
It's funny how quickly, it seemed like it's forever the drawn out problem, but here we are, Indiana, and who could believe it? Who'd have thunk it? Miami, who a lot of people thought didn't deserve or should not be there. They wanted Notre Dame. They thought Notre Dame should be there instead of Miami. But what it did...
Well, Notre Dame thought Notre Dame should be there.
But you could tell the coach of Miami, it really angered him. And he's really, they're out to prove something that they belong. Now, what's weird is Tech lost to Oregon by 3 field goals and a touchdown, basically. Yeah, and it was our offense let us down.
You just didn't have any,
right?
Their defense was that good,
right? But then Oregon plays Indiana and gets stomped.
Yes.
It was what was it, 36 or 39 to 6 or 7.
No, they had 56.
No, I don't think
Indiana got 56.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
First half, they got 35.
That's right. Yeah. So I'm almost thinking, boy, Tech, you're lucky you didn't meet these guys.
Yeah.
But the one I'm thinking about, I confused it with the Alabama game.
Oh, yeah.
Where Alabama got spanked and whipped 36 to 6. It was 36 to 6. So anyway, we're down to Indiana and Miami. So it should be a really, really good game. It's going to be in the Orange Bowl again. They got 2 this year. That's interesting. But it'll be an interesting game. It's Monday night. Bring your camera. Be ready for it. And we'll see who pulls it out. I'll be honest. There's something about their coach that it's off-putting to me. He just seems like a curmudgeon. He just seems like
Yeah.
There's no personality there. I like your Woody Hayes. Like your
John Madden. Remember when he was?
And what was Florida State's coach? Bobby Bowden. Bobby was probably to me the greatest.
Except that time when Bob Stoops beat him. He just stood there like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah, what happened? Yeah,
because we owned him.
Yeah. So but this guy, but he's a serious, all business guy, and he's built a successful program. Could you imagine betting for Indiana to be the national champion? I bet the odds there you could make a whole lot of money. If you had bet on Indiana to be the national champion. So
it's a home game, basically, for Miami.
Well,
It's close. But get this, I went on ESPN looking up the schedule and that. And one of the ESPN does is they tell you what's the cheapest ticket still available? $3,000. That's for nosebleed.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. That is crazy. So anyway, that's happening. And then NFL is surprising this year. All of the last year's teams have been blown out.
Yeah.
Kansas City didn't even make the playoffs. The Eagles got beat last week.
Well, Ravens didn't make it either.
Ravens didn't make it, exactly. The only one who made it is Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo made it.
Yeah, and they're hanging in there.
Yeah, I know, because they're like, they did their win last week was similar to the way the Chiefs beat them. Remember, they came back in under a minute and kicked the field goal and won.
Yeah. Now Pittsburgh made it in, but then they got beat.
Right.
Made the playoffs, and they still fire their coach of 20 years, Tomlin. The interesting thing I see in the coaching carousel is the famous Harbaugh family. One of them, was it Jim Harbaugh with the Ravens?
No, Jim's the one with Sandy. L.A. It's John Harbaugh. John and Jim.
So he gets fired and immediately hired by the Giants for $20 million a year on a 5-year contract.
I don't call that a firing. I call that a promotion.
Yes.
I mean, as far as money, now, New York is the place where good coaches go to die. The Jets, it seems like no man. In fact, it's funny, right? What is his? I don't remember his name. He was the coach of the Jets, the last coach of the Jets.
Oh gosh,
he's kind of like a Polynesian guy, Hawaiian something. But anyway, bald, but really built, buff guy. But anyway, and so what happens? The Rams hire him.
Yeah.
As their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And what happens? I'm sorry, San Francisco. I'm getting he's in San Francisco. And what happens? They end up winning and moving on into the playoffs. They're in the second round now, semifinals, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
And man, and Brock Purdy boy. It's so funny because I couldn't stand
Terry Bradshaw, pretty good.
Yeah, I couldn't stand him when he was at Iowa State because they'd beat the Sooners and then they beat Tech. They were doing well, and then
you couldn't stand him because he was good.
Right. Well, yeah, really, yeah. It's no fun despising somebody who's not good.
Yeah.
But anyway, but ever since he's gotten there, he was also Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
The last person drafted in the NFL draft.
That's a great story.
He and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
They share that. But anyway, but ever since he went to San Francisco, I've been a San Francisco fan for many years. I still am.
Yeah. I
have T-shirts and everything. But anyway, Purdy, since he got to San Francisco, he's proven that he belongs there. I mean, I think he's really, really good. And he's just such a nice guy. And we need more of those in professional sports.
Yeah.
Which brings me to one last thing. And then I'll give it over to you. You got the typical feminists, but they're mostly lesbians these days, these feminists, like Rapinoe.
Yeah.
And then Sue Bird. And then, have you seen the commercial they have?
No.
Yeah, they've got this commercial now about keeping men in women's sports. They actually have a commercial promoting men in women or transvestites or transsexuals, let me use that word, transsexuals in men's sports. And
women's sports.
I mean, women's sports. And I was just go away. Just go away. Live your life. We don't care what your preference is. We don't care. We'll let God deal with that later. But just stay out of this thing because every person with a sound mind knows that you cannot have guys playing in women's sports.
But the important distinction here is the word former athlete.
Yeah,
Rapinoe is no longer competing.
Right. They're all former athletes. That's
okay.
True.
You get the young women who are trying to a career where you don't have a separate men's and women's, where you don't have that protection.
Right.
And it's mostly in college sports.
Right.
And another reason, don't send your kids to college. Right. Send them to trade school. Believe in that big time. But yeah, this is the insanity. It's the ideology. She's a gay radical activist,
Right.
period.
That's what she is. That's exactly right. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up.
Just so you know what's going on today. You guys set your calendar. Buffalo takes on Denver here in a couple hours. And then, or in actually about an hour, San Francisco at Seattle tonight.
Boy, I hope they win. Go San Francisco.
Yep. And then tomorrow,
the Niners.
Tomorrow you've got Houston at New England. I'm for Houston on that one, but I like New England too.
Yeah, I'm a New England.
You fan. And then you've got the LA Rams, is it?
Yeah.
Against Chicago, at Chicago. Everybody's playing in cold weather. The games are all in Denver, Seattle, New England, and Chicago.
Wow.
All across the snow belt. So, yeah. You know,
one thing I like about Denver, they have a running back, and I can't think of his name now. He's an OU. He's from OU.
Nix. Isn't it Nix?
No. Darn it. Why can't I think? I see him so clearly, and I cannot think of his name.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he was a running back for 1 year. In fact, he couldn't play the whole year because he got busted for smoking marijuana or something.
Yeah, Bo Nix was a quarterback.
Yeah, Bo.
So you've got Badel.
Which team are you on?
I'm Denver.
No, I didn't say that. New England.
New England.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm giving you.
Yeah. I'm saying Bo. I was saying Nix. Now, the only Nix I know is Bo Nix. But yeah, New England, the running back, and if you'll give us a moment, he will find it.
Yeah, and while I'm doing that, of all those stadiums, only one of them's Dome.
Really?
In Seattle.
Yeah.
Which is probably the nicest climate.
Yeah, right.
It's
so funny. Yes.
Get a dome. Come on.
That's a disadvantage for the Rams and the 49ers.
If you're not used to playing in the cold.
But sometimes the teams that aren't used to playing in the cold, maybe they play quicker. They say, man, we got to hurry up and get this game over. Let's win this and get out of here. Maybe that's okay, here we go.
But yeah, running back, you got Henderson, Stevenson.
Yeah. It's Samaji. No, that's Pete Ryan. Ramondre. I knew it was one of them black names.
Yeah.
One of them weird names. Ramondre Stevenson.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't know what it is. I saw the game where he finally came back out of his suspension at OU. Mm-hmm. And there's something about the guy that I just liked. Great kid. And what's funny now, they say on the team, he's like the papa. He said all the players look up to him.
Yep. And
it's interesting that, he's been in there, I think, 5 years now.
Yes. Started in 21. So right after COVID. And he's, all he got season stats, but you said he's been out much of the season.
Yeah, he was injured.
Well, he did play in part of 14 games. And so,
so I guess he missed 3 because they play 17 games.
Actually, they technically only have him at 600 yards in rushing. So in receiving, he's got 350. But we'll see.
Yeah.
If you're playing hurt, that's rough. So anyway, that's going on. I do want next week, Eddie, can you give us your breakdown of the best steakhouses in the Tulsa metro area? Because Valentine's coming. And, my woman likes steak.
Oh, that's, yeah. No, I can do that.
You said Logan's is really reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Compared to other steaks.
Yeah, except you have to drive the Waso.
Yeah.
On 96.
They had one here on Restaurant
Memorial.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why they left because I used to eat there. In fact, one time I was there, I walk in and I look up and there's Mike Stoops, Bob Stoops' brother.
Yeah.
He was sitting there. He was there on a recruiting trip, and he's sitting there by himself. And I said, oh, hey, Mike. How you doing? And so I get up and I said, hey, man, listen, my secretary is a huge OU fan. Would you mind getting an autograph?
Your secretary.
It was true. I
know, but normally you say, I'm really a big fan.
Oh, yeah. I said, no, can I get a picture of her with you?
Yeah.
And I took it. And it turns out blurred.
Oh.
And I didn't have the heart to ask him to do it again. Yeah. But all of a sudden, everybody in the restaurant goes up, and I looked at him. I said, "I'm so sorry." And he went. He said, It's okay. Yeah. But he was trying to just have a quiet, peaceful meal. He was all by himself, probably thinking about this recruit that he's trying to get from Union at the time. But anyway, it's a memory I have about the Stoops. But, all right. Well, listen, people, my peeps, it's been good being with you. Yeah. We went a little long today, and I hope you have a great week. It's supposed to get cold tonight, so I hope you have your firewood, have your faucets covered and all of that. And God bless, and we will see you, Lord willing, next week. We're going to finish with the theme song of late from Stranger Things. Kate Bush.
Up that hill.
It will live on here on the Fresh Black Coffee program. God bless. Bye.